Hi, I'm Doug here at Global West. What I'd like to talk to you about here is Chevelle, 1964 through 72, A-bodies, which is Pontiac, GTO, Le Mans, Buick GS, Grand National, Oldsmobile, Cutlass, 442. And we're going to talk about coilover. Now, coilovers is getting to be pretty common on most of these A-bodies. And I've got a coilover shock here. This happens to be a Viking, but there's QA1 and AFCO and Penske, and there's just a host of coilovers that you can put on your vehicle. Now, coilovers, normally what they do, and I have an arm here, they bolt to the top of the lower control arm. And we recommend going to a tubular control arm because the stock lower arm really isn't designed to handle that type of load. It had a spring pocket. It wasn't designed to hold all the load of the corner of the car through that little portion where the shock bolts. Okay, so we highly recommend going to a tubular arm designed for a coilover. And of course, that's what we have right here. Coilover's got a doubler in here. It's our CTA 42H, okay? And it bolts on accordingly with the T-bar. It's designed for a coilover. Now, when you put a coilover on this particular vehicle, we feel that coilovers are good from, of course, stock height, it's not a problem, down to about 1 1/4 drop. But after 1 1/4, there's a tendency to run into a bottoming condition. And the bottoming condition can come from not enough spring rate, because the lower you go, the stiffer the spring needs to be, right? Or not enough shock travel. One way or another, you can run into that condition. So if you're going from 1 1/4 to, let's say, 1 3/4 just in your shock coilover system, you're probably going to run into a problem. Solution, go to a 2-inch drop spindle, keep the stock height in the suspension components, and then you got your 2-inch drop. But a lot of people don't want to run a 2-inch drop spindle because the 2-inch drop spindle interferes with your rim backspace. You got to go to an 18-inch rim. But yet you want a ride height that's lower. Let's say you want 1 1/2. Again, with the coilover in a conventional type application where it goes to the standard location, you're going to run into a problem. So what we've done is we've built a control arm system, and let me tilt it up here for you, that fixes that. This is now the new shock mount. You notice it's a little bit lower than the tubes. We've lowered the shock mount down in the control arm. Here's the other one. And this is where the shock mount, see how flush that is? By lowering this down, it allows us to move the shock and the spring, of course, down, which allows you to have suspension travel at the new lowered ride height. So when you use a control arm like this, now instead of going from, like with this arm, it would be from the stock ride height down to 1 1/4 or so, now we go from 1 1/4 down to a little bit below 2 inches. So you can actually have your lowered ride height, maintain a spring rate that's reasonable for the street, and not have to run a drop spindle. So now you don't have to have a rim change as well. There's a lot of benefits here. And let's say you just needed an application on your A-body where you just needed more travel overall. You could actually do that with the extended travel lower control arm and go to a longer coilover system. There's many ways that these arms are beneficial. The part number, these come standard, by the way, with the dowel bushings. Of course, we got the ball joints, sway bar attachments, and so on. Now, one of the things is when you're running a coilover like this, normally you have a polyurethane bushing in there, or maybe you even have a bearing. When you switch over to something, we have bearing kits that go into the lower control, the mount in the control arm, okay, but for the shock mount right here, right? So you're going to get rid of this T-bar because we've got a 1/2-inch bolt that goes through there. And we have bearing kits for Viking and QA1 and Penske and AFCO and others. Those are separate part numbers from the lower control arm. So make sure you understand that the kit, because we don't know what shocks you're running. When you order something like this, you're going to need a bearing kit extra for the shock that you happen to be using. And we have those kits available. So the part number again is a CTA 42EXT. It fits 1964 through 72 A-bodies. It's a direct bolt-in, plugs in with your coilover, goes to a standard spindle. It could even go to a drop spindle if you wanted to. Let's say you had a 2-inch drop and you wanted to go to, or raise it up, or who knows how far you wanted to drop it. You could actually use an EXT for that, providing you accommodate with the right leg shock. And we can go ahead and help you out with that. CTA 42EXT, 64 through 72 A bodies. If you're looking for a specific ride height, don't want to run that 2-inch drop spindle, this might be something you might want to take a look at.